Hello there, Chris Pearcey of Wedding Industry Wisdom here. How are you all doing? Shortly to be joined by Mr. Jack Brister, who hopefully will be watching any moment now. Very, very exciting news to announce for you later on. Wait till the end to listen out for that. To give people a chance to join in. Let's see if we can get some people joined in. To invite a bunch of people. Let's see if they want to come in and contribute, because we have a loose plan, as we often do for these lives, but we don't have anything concrete at the moment. Got a couple of people watching already. If you're watching, let me know who you are. Say hello. And like I said, we're going to be announcing our biggest announcement to date a little bit later on in the in this live. So stick around to the end to listen to find out what that is. Or you can listen back to the podcast tomorrow, because this, as always, with these lives that we're doing on a scheduled Monday at 7 p.m, we are now recording them and putting them out as a podcast, which you can find on Spotify and most platforms. Not on iTunes yet, as it takes a little bit longer to get onto iTunes, but we know we are available on multiple platforms. And if you want to find out when those episodes out, they're normally out the following morning, but we always email out a link. So if you are not on our newsletter, if you're not getting all our latest news, why not? So head over to weddingindustrywisdom.co.uk and sign up. Jack wants to be in the broadcast. I've said he's everything's better with Jack. Apparently, haven't seen any evidence. Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright. Denise beat you to it. She was here before you were.
I know, I'm disappointed in myself more than anything.
Well, yeah. And we realised we hadn't had a very important chat.
And just to hashtag tease, the thing you asked me to do, I wasn't able to do because I couldn't remember my password either.
Cool, so we'll just do
do the old-fashioned way.
Cool, so we are starting as professionally as always. Are you ready to get going straight away? Let's wait for people to join in. Or we're just going to get going?
Sorry, my Google Home's making a lot of noise at me at the moment. I'm just turning it off. I am ready to go. Are you ready to go?
I was born ready.
You were born ready, of course you were.
Of course I was. Well, actually, I say that. Not sure if my microphone's close enough, but we'll see how that goes. Okay.
There we go.
Hello there, Chris Pearcey here of Wedding Industry Wisdom, and joined as always by Mr. Jack Brister.
Hello.
There you go. We were on Skype for a little bit too long today, weren't we?
We had 12 days of not actually talking to each other, and then all of a sudden we spent what felt like a lifetime on Skype today. It was a long time.
It was about 3 hours.
It felt longer.
It felt long. It was a productive 3 hours, and
it was productive because we were coming up with stuff for you guys.
Yes, I am so excited that I almost want to say it now, but I'm not going to say it now. But if you remember how excited I got about the time vampires, if you double that, that's kind of how excited I am about what we're announcing at the end of this thing. I mean, that is such a teasy, clickbaity type thing, but I'm using it, so there we go. But it's ridiculously exciting. And also, if you've been on the group today, you'll have noticed probably one of our busiest ever threads, which I'm quite pleased about.
We're currently at 53 comments, which is quite cool.
Of course, it's 53. 53 is the number which plagues my life. It's really, really weird.
Do we need to ask why?
No, it's just an oddity that the number 53 seems to pop up a lot in my life. I'm not in any way superstitious or anything. It's just slightly freaky how often the number 53 comes up. But I think it's one of those things that, once you start looking for it, you start seeing it more.
It's like as soon as you decide on a new car, you see that car everywhere on the road, don't you? Same thing.
Yeah, as soon as you decide you're going to have a baby, you only see pregnant people around, or whatever.
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I think there's a certain amount of fallacy to it, but yeah, because you just don't notice the other numbers, but when you notice the 53, it comes up a lot. Anyway, we digress quite massively there.
Quite massive. We're only 2 minutes in.
Two minutes in, we've already got off on about 3 tangents. That's fantastic. So if you haven't been on the group today, or recently, or whenever you happen to be listening to this, then I asked on there if I can find exactly what my exact words
You
were.
asked, what do you find the most annoying thing to hear from a prospective client when you're trying to get them to book you?
And what would you say the general consensus is in the answers?
Very similar to what we talked about last week, actually, which is that your best price? I can get the same elsewhere, or words to that effect.
Yeah, I think that it's becoming quite apparent, to me at least, that at the fundamental level of our belief system at Wedding Industry Wisdom is that ideal client basically defines everything.
Yeah.
I think that as soon as you get someone saying, "Oh, is that your best price? Can you beat that price? Can you do a ridiculous amount of work for a stupidly low fee?" And you're just like, "No," then you're just not dealing with the right people. I mean, that's what the Time Vampire series was all about, really. I mean, that's how it started. I mean, there was a lot of other stuff in there as well, but we are going to open that up again at some point because that is now closed. But if you missed out on that, then you will be at some point in the future. We will be launching that again for free, but not just yet. But yeah, that started off with making sure you are dealing with your ideal clients, because if you are, you start hearing those sorts of things so much less.
Yeah, I mean, you will still hear it. It's an inevitability of
Yeah,
any business, because if you're not hearing that, then the chances are you're not charging enough. If
yeah,
people are
that is
going,
true.
"Oh, that sounds good," then you've got a different problem entirely. So you're never going to eradicate it entirely, or you shouldn't want to eradicate it entirely, because it just means you're not doing enough, you're not charging enough for the amount of work that you're doing. But you can certainly minimize it by having the ideal client and knowing who you're targeting, because if you're targeting the right people, then those people will be expecting to pay X number of pounds for whatever your service is. So you're saving yourself the time of having to deal with those people who are, oh, excuse me, who are kind of just going around playing the price game. Unless, of course,
Yeah,
that is your target market, in which case you'll be charging accordingly. So,
yeah. I mean, there was a comment about how people are working a full-time job and then having a weekend job, a weekend warrior type thing, where they can basically, because they're not relying on it, they tend to be really, really cheap. And I think that's a real annoyance to a lot of people, which unfortunately you can't really do anything about. I mean, if someone's really, really good and they want to charge very, very little because they don't need the money, then yeah, not really much you can do about that. But having said that, unless you're someone who's not, unless you're hiring out stuff and you have to be there on the day, or you have to do some work on the day, there's only one place you can be at one time. So once that person has been booked out for a certain date, they've got their wedding booked for the day. If they're a photographer, they're only going to do one wedding in a day. So once they've got their booking for that date, every other single wedding on that date is then open to you. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what you have no control whatsoever over other people's pricing. You have no control over what they offer or their level of service. So I think the lesson here is to just really concentrate on providing the level of service that you want to provide at the price that you want to provide it at.
Yeah,
Because there's no point worrying about anyone else.
definitely. Yeah, Denise has put a little comment underneath here saying that she sometimes runs charity events and they use entertainment, and she would never question anyone's price because she thinks it's a bit cheeky to do that. And I think that's a key difference by the fact that you are self-employed, you work for yourself. I think that's where the key difference comes from, is people who work for someone else over someone who's self-employed. Because when you're self-employed, you fully appreciate all of the expenses that go into just living life. To a certain extent, people who are employed don't understand the expenses that go into living their life because their salary covers it all, so they don't always have to worry about all of that stuff. But when you are self-employed and you're making your own money and you're working for it, like we do, then you become aware of every single penny. So I think you're coming as Denise is self-employed when she's hiring someone out or doing something like that, then it's coming from a very much that mindset that she's coming from the same mindset we would come from when we're quoting.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, and I'll hear this occasionally, not so much anymore, I imagine, a lot of people who work quote unquote by the hour, so photographers, entertainers, people who are there on the day, will sometimes hear, well, my husband's a builder, he works for 15 quid an hour, so you're worth 10 times, 20 times, 50 times more than he is. When in fact, because that's how they equate it, that
Yeah.
you're working for an hourly rate. So you kind of need to get out of that mindset that you are working on an hourly rate and you should be providing it. And they should be seeing you as adding X amount of value to their wedding day, not X amount of hours of work.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the reasons why we on our free course and on the paid course that we offer, we strongly advise or basically insist that you offer packages, regardless of what level of work that you're doing, because once you're providing a package, it makes it a lot less comparable to what someone does. Because let's say you're someone charging £200 an hour for whatever it is that you do, and they earn 20 pence an hour. It's really easy for them to say, "Why are you getting paid 10 times as much as me?" Because they don't think about the day by day costs of running your business. They don't think about any of that sort of stuff. They just go, I earn £20 an hour, he earned £200 an hour. How does that make sense? Well, the other difference being that you can quite easily fit in 40 hours of work a week, whereas someone charging £200 an hour, they are probably only working 6 hours a week, or only performing or whatever it is they're doing for 6, 7, 8 hours a week, and then they're not getting paid a single penny for the 40 hours of admin and marketing and advertising and meetings and networking and etc. 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 that goes in outside of it. So yeah, I mean, in my early days, I used to get this a lot with charity events. Now, with charity events now, what I'll do is I'll knock off a little bit of money, but not very much, and I'll then extend the amount of time I'll perform for. Because if I'm getting typically a charity event is normally in the evening, so it's going to be a 2 hour booking in the evening. But once I've got a 2 hour booking in the evening, I'm not going to fit in any other work. So if I can donate, if you like, an extra hour's performance time and take a little bit off, they're getting more time for less money. So they can either see that for what it is as a bit of generosity, but at the same time, I've still got to pay my bills. My costs don't go down just because it's a charity event. Everything else remains the same. So yeah, I mean, I know this is kind of going slightly off topic, but I understand that people who run wedding business don't necessarily just do weddings. So just a bit of general advice on that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And the great thing about charity events is that they generally don't coincide with weddings, because weddings, on the whole, obviously there are exceptions, are on the weekends. And then I find that charity events that I tend to do tend to be during the week in the evenings. So generally be a Thursday, I tend to find.
Yeah.
So they tend not to collide at all. As you said, you can't do, once you have an evening booked out, you can't try and squeeze in a second one. So it makes sense to do that. As you said, not everyone here is just a wedding suppliers. Many of us have to do or choose to do other types of events as well, just to get some extra money in during the week. So I feel like that's a relevant thing to say as well. I'm just looking through some of the other things.
Yeah, so there's one I wanted to bring up straight. There's one saying about I want it for my day, and we having a meeting, have a meeting with them, and then nothing results as a result of that meeting.
Followed by
Now,
a gif of a ghost.
yeah, so implying that they are being ghosted by the client. Now, we don't know that's as much context as we have with regards to this situation. So we can only really speak in general terms. But myself and Jack saw this earlier, and we had a quick chat about it. And my conversion rate when I meet up with a client is 100%. Every single time I've had a one-on-two consultation, if you want to call it that, with a client, they have booked me. And Jack said exactly the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that if you are allowing the booking to not happen on the day, then and if this is not just applying to the person that wrote it, but this is applying to anyone who's finding that, because we had this with one of our coaching clients as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Is that you need to be looking at what is going on within that meeting. I mean, are you actually asking for the money on the day? Because that is one of the biggest problems that we found with people, is that they are too afraid to say, would you like to book me, or which package sounds the most interesting to you, or how would you like to make payment, or whatever it is that whatever your line you're going to use to move from selling into closing and making it into a deal. Because if you're leaving that meeting without asking for a booking, what was the point in the meeting in the first place? What was your intentions going in there? What's your thoughts on that, Jack?
Yeah, I agree. I also think that something that's worth pointing out is that if this is the case, is they want you have a conversation with them, you arrange a meeting, you have the meeting, and they don't book, and that happens on a consistent basis, then maybe meeting up with them in person isn't the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Potentially.
maybe.
Or you don't fit with your ideal client, the people that are booking you. So then you either need to make sure you're not there, or you need to change your ideal clients so that it kind of fits more in with you as a person, with your business as it currently stands. Those are my thoughts. They may be a little bit harsh potentially, but I
No,
think
I mean, I think.
Go on.
Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say it's important that you understand that, because if you can see where the problems are, you're then able to problem solve it, and you're able to fix that problem. So if you can see that no one is booking you when they meet you, you then know that those are probably the issues. It may be that you are getting lots of bookings over the phone, in which case you're probably still targeting the right clients. It's just a case of you're not very good at selling in person, so then keep it on the phone. But if you're not getting any bookings at all, no matter how you contact them, then you're probably targeting the wrong people.
Yeah, or targeting the wrong people, or you're pricing yourself at the wrong price point for those people. Or, there are a lot of variables, but it's something to be looked into. Now, the reason I mean, I think that one-on-one meet, I'm going to call them one-on-one meetings, but meeting in person with a client, your conversion rate should be very close to 100%, if not 100%. And the reason for that is, I mean, with the exception of possibly something like photographers, where you may want to meet a few of them in person before you make the decision. But anything apart from that, I think that, deciding to have a one-on-one meeting with them, or a consultation, whatever you want to call it, it's a heavy investment of someone's time, and that is not to be overlooked, because people are very, very busy nowadays, and to actually take the time to arrange for someone to come over to your house normally, and have them over, is basically taking up an evening of someone's week. And that's not to be discounted as, I mean, I know there's no monetary value associated with that, but time is a commodity. It's something that, they say time is money. Well, I don't want to overuse the cliche, but it's a commodity which cannot be replaced. So the fact that someone's taking an hour and a half, 2 hours out of their time, and inviting you into their home, and making sure the house is nice and tidy and everything else, and all those things they're going to do, for them to then not book you suggests that something is going wrong within that meeting thing, or it's not right for you, like Jack said, or whatever. So when you're meeting someone in a consultation, your conversion rate should be very, very, very high. And if it isn't, I mean, you should be leaving those meetings with a signed contract, with a deposit paid with a card machine, or with cash in your hand, or whatever. And if you don't have the facilities to do that, then get them. Card machines are cheap as chips. How much is this? sum up now.
I mean,
20 quid?
30 quid, I think. You can even buy, you can, I wouldn't recommend it because I just wouldn't, but iZet will have a free one that you can get as well. It doesn't look particularly pretty, it's a bit clunky, but even if you were that strapped for cash, you don't even have to pay for one.
Yeah, and then there's a transaction fee to be taken in, but you'd rather leave with 97% of the deposits in your bank account than 0% of it in your account. So
Definitely.
those are the sort of facilities that you should have. I don't do many, I don't need to do many meetings in person. Sometimes people request them, and I say, well, why don't we talk over the phone and see if there's any need to meet up after that? And that's because, to be perfectly blunt, I don't feel like I need to do that, and I don't want to take up my whole evening driving an hour to somewhere, spending an hour with someone, and then having an hour driving back again, because that's 3 hours extra work for me.
Yeah.
Which, if you did that for every single client, that's 300 hours a year, 300 evenings taken up, or whatever, and it's just not necessary, I don't think, for me most of the time. But I understand in a lot of industries it will be.
Yeah, definitely. And it depends on exactly what you do and all of that kind of stuff. But I think when you can get to a certain point where you are busy enough to refuse that meeting. The thing is if someone inquires with you specifically, Chris, and says, I want to meet with you about my wedding day, which is August 2020, for example, and that it's a Saturday in August, you're going to fill that date because if you haven't filled it yet, you're going to fill it in the next 11 months. It's going to get filled. So you are in a position where you can go, well, actually, I don't need to meet this person. Obviously, you wouldn't say this to them, but you can be to yourself in a position where you can say, I don't need to do this.
Well, yeah. If anyone ever asks to have a meeting with me, my follow-up question, not in these words, is, why do you want to meet with me?
Yeah.
What is it that you need to know from me in order to understand what I do? I mean, if you've been on my website, you've seen me performing, you can see what I do. You've read my testimonials. You've read enough on my website to be convinced of me making an inquiry with me. What is going to be different face to face compared to talking over the phone? Like I said, I have met up with people, and I do meet up with people if they're absolutely insistent on it, and it's a date I want to fill. And when I do it, I do get, like I said, everyone books me. So you might say, oh, why don't you do that all the time then? And the simple answer is I basically don't want to because I'm busy enough.
And it's as you said, it's an extra, if you are dedicated 3 days a week to doing them in the evenings, that's an extra 3 evenings that you don't get with your partner and you don't get with your kids. When you are getting a good enough conversion rate over the phone that you're very happy to continue doing it that way. So I don't really see a need for it, really.
Not for me personally, but I understand
for you personally,
that,
obviously, this is very much individual tastes, and for photographers, it's probably more important that you meet up with them, and potentially people who need to show a portfolio of work, so maybe a cake maker and those kind of things, you might need to go and meet them in person. But if you're purely service driven and you are someone like a magician or an entertainer in some way or another, then there is really no need to meet them in person, I don't think.
yeah.
Unless you're just starting out and you're looking to gain knowledge and experience, and you have the time to be able to go and do that. Because if you are new to the industry, then every inquiry is quite exciting. So you have the time and the ability to go and do that. But if you are a busy working professional, obviously you don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, and I think that don't want to overdo this time, but if you are just to finish this off before we move on to something else, if you are meeting up with clients and you are not hearing anything from them afterwards, then you're potentially doing something completely wrong within that meeting period.
Yeah.
Skype is. Alan says Skype is a great way to have an informal chat about the date. Yeah, Skype.
That was my compromise. I was going to say a great compromise would be to get on Skype because you're having that face-to-face interaction, but without having to be there. So that's a great point, Alan.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something else. So, but and yeah, in terms of people then not getting back to you, I think that we spoke about this in depth already about email follow-up and how important that is, and how. So I don't really want to dive into that rabbit hole again.
One of my personal favorites that has got a very, very easy and very, very simple solution to it is we'll get back in touch. I need to discuss with my partner.
You're
we'll
going to
be
say
in
what I
touch
was
near
going to
the
say.
time. The simple solution, and this is so, so easy, you'll be able to do it straight away, is ask them when's a good time to have another chat with them.
Yeah. People are terrified to say that, right?
Oh, 100% they are. And it's evidenced by there's 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different people saying, might be even more than that, I can't keep count, of the people that are saying in that chat, in that comments, that people will be in touch nearer the time. Literally all you have to do is say, when's a good time, or when will you have definitely spoken to them, or when will you have had a chance to think about this, when will you have done whatever their excuse is, and they will come back with, oh, maybe sometime next week or sometime at the weekend. If they say sometime at the weekend, you say, great, if I give you a call on Monday, will you have time to have a chat about it then? Or if they say sometime next week, try and pin them down to a more specific time, because all they're trying to do is evade having to have that conversation with you. And it may be they get to the point where they just say, well, actually, it's probably not right for us. And then that's great because it means you don't waste any more time following up with people who are never going to book you. So it's going to help expedite the process of getting an answer from somebody.
And that's what you really want at the end of the day. I mean, I deal with it as a two-part question. If they say they want to speak to their partner and say, well, I use the Grant Cardone thing, which is I don't think it's specifically his, but about always agreeing with the customer.
Yeah. No, that goes back to Jack Canfield, I think.
Okay, so the basic idea is they say they're going to want to speak to their partner about this, and you go, oh yeah, I'm exactly the same. Whenever I want to make a big decision about X, Y, or Z, I always want to speak to my partner about it first. When are you likely to speak to him about it? And they'll say, oh, and this answer here will very quickly identify how serious they are about booking you. If they say, oh, well, we're actually having doing some wedmin tonight, or, oh God, I hate that expression.
Wedmin.
It's horrible, isn't it? Yeah, becoming more popular, unfortunately. Or we're having a chat about things over the weekend, so we will have chatted about it by Sunday. And then the follow-up question is there a good time for me to give you a call on Monday just to sort things out? And I don't really understand why that's scary. The only thing that ever stopped me from doing it before was the fact that I didn't know about it. I can't remember where I heard about it. It might have been Cardone. I don't know.
It probably was. He does talk about it a lot. So
yeah. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, cool. I'm going to start doing that because yeah, it is one of the most annoying things when people say, yeah, I'll speak to my partner and get back to you. So what's the problem of saying when are you going to speak to them? Cool. When's a good time for me to give you a call? Now, if they're absolutely planning on, I don't like the expression ghosting. I really don't. Bothers me. Anyway, but if you're convinced that they are not interested in you whatsoever and they're never going to reply, that will become so instantly apparent by the way in which they answer those questions. In which case, you get to the answer that you want, and you can basically just scrub that out of the diary if you penciled it in any way, shape, or form. And you can just start worrying about the next one. Just safe in the knowledge that you're never going to hear from them again. Or they say, yeah, I'm speaking to them on Sunday. I'm busy Monday night because I've got a fitness class. Can you give me a call on Tuesday? And you go, cool, what time Tuesday? I'll get back from work about 6:30. Can you give me a call at 7? Yes, I can. You call them at 7. It's one of the most profound and easy ways of getting around that problem. So if you're not already doing that, there's absolutely nothing to be scared of, and just start doing it because
Yeah.
it will increase your conversion rate, and it will stop you wasting time with those people who are just planning on never booking you.
Yeah, and definitely, it's such an easy and simple thing to do that you would be foolish not to. And adding the whole, I agree, and that is something that's a really nice little sales technique, is to always agree with the customer. We kind of go a little bit off topic onto that as well. Is to kind of move in the direction of the customer and whatever they're talking about. So in this particular instance, they're talking about having a chat with their other half, and you agree with them. So just say, I would do the same if I was trying to make a big decision about the biggest day of my life. I would want to talk to my partner about it too. So it's a very simple and very easy thing to do and to add in. So whatever their objection is, do your best to try and move in the direction of it. So if they talk about your price being a bit high, which obviously is another thing that's come up here, you can say, I agree the price is high, and then move into the reasons why your price is higher than your competitors. So, better customer service, you are expensive for a reason, which, you reassuringly expensive. That was the one. I learned that today because I was 6 years old when that ad campaign came out.
He'd never heard of reassuringly expensive to Stella Artois thing.
I know, I was 6 years old when it came out, and I don't drink, so I've got no reason to know what it is. But I now know reassuringly expensive. So you kind of need to come up with your reasons why you're expensive, so you can justify it to them and say, I agree, my price is expensive, but it's expensive because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And you'll kind of develop this as you go on. You'll see the reasons why people say no, and you could or try and come up with objections and do your best to find a way to overcome those objections by agreeing with them. So saying that I know my price is high, but it's high because I'm better than everyone else. But obviously, you have your actual reasons why.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things I like to do if people talk about, and this is another reason to have packages again, is to then use your packages as your arsenal. So let's say you have 3 packages, and that's what we recommend that people have. Let's say they're looking at the middle package, but it's too expensive for them. Then you can easily just say to them, oh, you only want to spend that much. Well, if you only want to spend that much, then we can go down to the silver package. The silver package doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, and doesn't have the other that the gold package has, but you will be saving that £200. But if you just spend that £200 extra, then you will get X, Y, and Z, which you wouldn't get otherwise. Now, this does 2 great things. Number one, it shows that you have that flexibility to do it for a cheaper price, but it changes what you're trying to sell. So let's say your middle package is 600 and your bottom package is 400, for example. They've already told you that they're willing to spend 400, for example, and you say, okay, well, you have the silver package here. Then what you're then doing is you're not trying to sell a £600 package. You're trying to sell the things that are extra in the gold package, X, Y, and Z. You're trying to say, well, X, Y, and Z for only £200. So if you've packaged things up nicely and correctly, then that £200 sale, which is actually a £600 sale, that £200 sale is incredibly easy because you're selling a lot for not very much money because they've already said they're happy to commit to 400. So
Yeah.
or the other option is they just go onto the bottom package, in which case you've got to sell anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a line that our friend Spencer Wood told me about. And it is essentially is that you sell them on the £400 pack. They are sold on the £400 package. That's what they've got £400. Then you've only got to sell them £200. So you say to them, in essence, and I would personally not use this, is not my style, but as I said, this has come from someone who has used it. And he would say words along the lines of, well, you've only got to find £200 in your wedding budget over the course of the next 18 months, or whatever it is, however long it is until their wedding day. You've got to find £200 over the next 18 months. And they'll go, well, no, I've got to find 600. So, well, no, you've already committed 400. You've only got to do another 200 in order to find me. So you've only got to find £200 in the next 18 months until my bill is due. Again, this is not a line I would ever be able to get away with and I would ever use, but I just wanted to kind of put it out there as reference. So you guys have got that there in case it's something that fits your style a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, there is you can, if you like, get into the real cold hard maths of it, which don't do this by email.
No.
I did that once and lost a booking. This is a couple of years ago, and I was starting to. I got to a stage when I was getting a stupid amount of inquiries, so I was beginning to test and play around with different techniques, and I think I pissed someone off because I tried a technique by email, which definitely shouldn't have been done by email. But yeah, they were basically they were trying to get I think £100 off, and the wedding was about a year away, so I broke it down to the fact that they only had to find like £3 a day or something. So that if you just stop having one takeaway coffee a day, then you'll have the extra money you need to afford me. But said in person, it can
get away with it.
You can get away with it because you can pitch your tone absolutely perfectly, as well as your body language and your facial expressions. You can be very, very clear that you're aware it's a bit cheeky and it's kind of fine and it's whatever. In written form, it can be taken so badly, so easily. It's like, stop drinking coffee. You have too much coffee. Stop drinking it. You stop doing that. You have £3 more. Put that £3 in a jar every day, and then you'll have or whatever,
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't £3 a day, because that would be like £1,000. I think it was 30p a day or something that they had to find. But
yeah.
it came. I think it just came across as really egotistical and smarmy. And
it very much
so
depends on
don't
your
do
style.
that by don't do that
Definitely.
by don't do that by email. But in person, it's for the right people, because we talk about this, of course. You've got to remember that no matter what you do, you are a salesperson. And I think it is. I think you'd agree with me, Jack. I was going to say this. You can disagree if you want, obviously. I think that of all the skills that wedding professionals need to brush up on, sales is the most important.
Yes.
And closing,
Yes.
which will bundle into one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's because you don't go into it. If you're a cake maker, you don't go into it to sell cakes. You go into it to make cakes.
Yeah. Definitely. And
Alan
so
Grumble says, "Are you worth more than a veggie platter?"
I would like to think so. Yes. I guess he's talking about ways to compare your value on a wedding day. Is that there's might be a veggie platter on the table and no one's going to touch it, or two people are going to touch it. Is that worth more than whatever is the extra amount of money for your next package that they really want? And that's you can do that. That's another way, is comparing it to other things of the day.
I would say though, just in my opinion, I would say that whenever you're making a comparison between things, that comparison should always be done in a very positive way.
Definitely.
I think that if you're saying, well, that's not worth anything, don't get me. If that's how it comes across, I mean, you're not going to say those words, but if that's how it sounds, then it's going to be very.
Sorry, I had to stand up and turn the light on. It was really dark in here.
I thought you were just leaving.
I've had enough of this.
Chris is going on again. If it comes across like you're as a negative comparison, then it is going to put people off. You want to do it in a very much in a positive light.
Definitely.
Something I was listening to earlier, completely unrelated, but showed a good example of this. So I was listening to something about promoting audiobooks, just because I'm trying to get more sales for my own audiobook, Bliss of Wedding Planning, Becoming a Stoic Bride, available on Audible now. Shameless plug. Great book. And it was saying that when a book comes out, if it was a fiction book, for example, and it's about fantasy and magic and something like that, it's much better to say this is the next Harry Potter, rather than this is better than Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because if you say it's better than Harry Potter, you are going to alienate every single Harry Potter lover in the world, because they're going to say, without any evidence or scrap of whatever, they're going to go, no, it's not. Harry Potter's the greatest thing ever. If you say it's the next Harry Potter, like, well, you piqued my interest now, sir, and they are going to
Yes.
potentially give it a chance. So that's a kind of highlighting that sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Cool. So I kind of want to move us on a little bit because we've talked. I think we've flogged the donkey about that enough times. Into a post that I don't ask me what that was. It was
Flogged?
an attempt.
No, flogged the donkey. What the bloody hell does that mean?
I don't know. It made sense in my head, and then the words tumbled out of my mouth, and I went, "Wait, no. Can I bring those back? Did I say those out loud?"
No, they're recorded now, so
That's it. They're there forever. On to a post that I put out in the group this week, and I just kind of want to go through a couple of different pieces that got mentioned in it, and then it was complete the sentence, the best piece of business advice I've received is. So you've had some really interesting comments that I think are worth exploring a little bit more, because there's a couple in there that I think could be expanded upon. And the first one was by Wayne Goodman, which is, the customer is always right, but not always correct. I think this is a really interesting statement because it sounds, when you first read it, contradictory. So I kind of want to expand upon it just a little bit. With the customer is always right. You should always agree with the customer because they are always right. But when you talk about things being correct, they may have the wrong reason, but that doesn't mean you have to disagree with them. You should find, this kind of goes back to what we talked about, and always move in the direction of the objection. If you're moving in the direction of the objection, then the customer is right, the price is high. The customer is right, the price is high, or whatever it might be, the price is too low, or it could be that it's just not right for them. But it doesn't mean they're correct. It means that they are right for them, and that the price is too high for them. It doesn't mean that they are correct about your pricing being too high.
Yeah. So I had a little person trying to interrupt me then.
I thought you did. It threw
But
me
yeah,
off for a second.
that's basically exactly how I read that as well. And I think that the biggest takeaway is from that is to not allow customers to define what your business does or charges or whatever else. I think that you need to listen and take on board what people say, but just because someone says, oh, you're too expensive, doesn't mean all of a sudden you make your prices cheaper. If you don't take a booking for months on end, and every single person is kind of arguing about price, then that's when you need to probably start looking at either increasing the level of service you're providing, adding more things into that, or reducing the price. But single encounters don't mean anything in particular.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a really good one. I'm just going to kind of run through these quickly as I've got them.
I was really tempted to put something really horrible on this.
Well, you didn't. You're actually quite nice. You put always give and never expect to receive. Do you want to expand upon that a little bit? Because it is your actual comment.
Yeah, I think this is it's something I fundamentally live my business life by. And I think this is shown by everything that we do with this Wedding Industry Wisdom page and the group and everything else, is that we are constantly putting out advice. We're constantly here responding to comments, responding to questions, people private messaging us, and just giving out constant free advice, free content, all just trying to help you guys grow your wedding businesses. And there is never, whenever we put anything out, there is never any expectation at all that we will get anything back from that. You are now very, very aware, if you've been listening to this for any time at all, that we do sell products. We have got courses. And there would be something even more exciting being announced in just a few minutes now, Jack. Very exciting.
Yeah, I know.
But all of this stuff is always given out with no expectation of us ever getting anything back. Because if you are putting stuff out with the expectation of getting stuff back, then you're going to end up disappointed more often than not, because you're sat there going, well, I've put this work in, I've done all this. Where's my recompense? Where's my money? Where's my, whatever? And it means you're just putting it all out for the wrong reason. All of the blogs I write, the book I wrote, and everything else, it's all been put out with the goal of helping people to get closer to whatever their goals might be. The ethos behind this is that, if you help someone enough, who's the first person they're going to turn to when they're looking for more help?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's never done with any expectation whatsoever.
Perfect.
So that's what that's about.
Yeah. We then had Denise. Go on. We had Denise Halfpenny just saying, as scary as it might be to begin with, if you're disciplined and work hard, it all comes together, which I think is a great sentiment when you are in business, is that it will be scary, it will be hard, but if you have the right systems and you are disciplined and everything's in place, it will work in the long run, and you put in the hard work, it will all work out in the end.
I think that if, top trumps.
Yes.
This is going to sound like a tangent.
Okay.
On top trumps you have like different things and you have different levels of each thing. I think that if you had a top trumps card and you had all the different business skills, and the one I would choose to have 10 on would be patience.
Yes.
I think that is fundamental to anything.
I would agree with that. Yeah. We then had Jason saying, just do it. So a slightly different view on things there, which I think is equally valid, is that, if you can spend forever contemplating things, mulling it over, trying to perfect something, but at the end of the day, you have to pull the trigger and you have to do it. So it's a great one there as well. And Bev Lee, I think this is a fantastic statement that
I'm looking forward to your explanation of this.
Okay. Is don't forget to spend time on your business, not just in your business. Now, this can be read in multiple different ways. The way that I think most people will read it, certainly in our industry, and in the wedding industry in general, is that they will spend time perfecting making cakes. They'll spend time perfecting doing magic. They'll spend time perfecting taking the perfect photo. They'll spend time in their business, and that is being in your business, is spending your time actually doing the work and doing whatever and perfecting whatever it is that you do, rather than spending time on your business working on a sort of larger scale, looking down at how your business can run smoother and how you can create a better experience for your customers and have a better time and get more work at a better price.
Yeah, the on your business is basically everything that we talk about.
Yes.
In all of these things, because we cannot possibly tell you how to do the in your business bit, because there's plenty more people to do that for you, like other cake makers or florists or whatever.
Exactly.
I'm only going to turn my own light on now, so I'm going to be 2 seconds. Jack, take the next comment.
That's fine. Yep. So then we move on to Roger Gregson, who has put a couple of different things, which I think are equally great. And the first one is one of those ones that I think is horribly misunderstood by many people, as saying how this one is horribly misunderstood by many people, and that is to underpromise and overdeliver. Because a lot of people will underpromise, and people don't seem to understand what underpromise means. People, when they read underpromise, will go, well, I shouldn't tell them, or I should hold stuff back. When I don't feel like that's what it should be. You should be telling them everything they're going to get, but you should do it better than they ever expected you to be able to do. So rather than saying, well, I'm not going to tell them that extra secret thing that I do at the end, or that secret thing that I give them that I don't tell them about, that shouldn't be what the underpromising is. The over-delivering side should be purely doing whatever it is that you do to a far higher expectation or a far higher level than anyone expects you to be able to do, because otherwise it essentially, in my mind, seems like you're relying on a gimmick to be able to over-deliver.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't have to necessarily be complicated as well. I mean, Dan Rhodes, that we had on the Yes Do I Do podcast, says that he turns up with a bottle of Prosecco to when he gets to the bridal suite, and that's such an easy, cheap, and great thing to do. And then he's then realised that as he did more and more weddings, that he found that people were needing plasters, or they were needing sanitary products, or they were needing toothpaste, or they were needing toothpicks, and he actually just started developing
I believe that
kit
was
stuff.
the guys from Thousand Words ended up with what they called the girl bag or something like that, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they had
Yeah.
the same thing as well. So it's that sort of thing where that's a level of service which you couldn't possibly you're not going to put that on your website.
Yeah. You're not going to
But
say comes with a girl bag.
it comes with a girl bag or whatever. But it's when you're there on the bridal suite and all someone goes, "Oh my God, I need whatever," and
Yeah.
as a photographer, you could just go, "Here it is." I mean
It,
that level of service, people are just going to be like, and that might just be producing a plaster. You know,
yeah. But it
it's
makes a big difference for them. So yeah, that's a great thing to be able to do.
yeah. Any other
We
comments that you want to draw
Yeah,
attention to on
so
there?
we're quickly going to run. I'm just going to run through all of them very quickly, the ones that have commented. So Roger also put, "Don't let your customers define your price," which we've already kind of covered. Be yourself. No one else can be you. Again, we've kind of covered previously, so it's great advice. Jordan O'Grady says, "Double your fee." And I would put a caveat to that with you have to have the new ideal client in order to double your fee. Because if you double your fee and you're working for the same people, they probably won't be able to afford you anymore.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I was just listening to the sound of a can of worms being opened there.
well, yeah, we're
Yeah,
not going to go into it in detail now.
yeah. The question that I think is interesting to ask yourself as a business is, if you were to double your fee, would you lose more than half of your work? And
Yeah,
if you wouldn't, then let's do it.
because you're going to be making more
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we then had Alan Granville said, "Surround yourself with people that can help you grow your business and be a little fish in a big pond," which I think is a great thing. Because there's that old saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I think that's essentially what Alan is saying here in terms of business, is that if you are the biggest business in a room, then you're not learning anything. And if you're not growing and you're not learning, then ultimately you are dying. And those are the two states you can be in. So you want to make sure that you are in a room where you are not the biggest business, the best business, where you can learn something from people.
Yeah.
If you are the biggest and the best, then you are in the wrong room. So it's a great point there from Alan. And then
Yeah.
Jordan O'Grady put one final comment about 5 minutes ago. He obviously knew we were talking about it, saying, "Get a decent accountant." And I cannot recommend this highly enough.
Yeah.
Too many people try and do their own tax returns, and I feel like it's a very, very, very foolish thing to try and do yourself.
Yeah. I mean, accountants aren't that expensive. Um,
I mean, I have no
and
idea what a self-employed tax would be, but I believe it's less, probably around £100, something like that. I'd have thought, maybe
yeah,
not even that
it's
much.
not. I mean, my accountant, bless him, bloody love my accountant. Um, one year, and I don't know why. I don't know why he did this. Um, but I sent him over all my figures, and I said I'll send over your invoice, and he just told me to said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just buy your partner a bunch of flowers."
Legend.
Legend.
That's great. So
And
yeah, I think getting a decent accountant is a very good thing to do, because they will, if they are good, they will save you a lot more money than in tax and all those kind of things than it will cost for them to be hired in the first place. Because
yeah,
they
I
will
think that
understand everything, they'll know what you can claim with all those kind of things, those intricacies that you will never know. Like my accountant has told me some things I can claim for that I didn't even know I could claim for.
yeah.
So they will more than pay for themselves in the long run.
Yeah, and also as your business grows, or maybe you're at that stage already, they will tell you when is the right time and the advantages and disadvantages of becoming a limited company,
Yeah.
which has advantages and disadvantages. Um, so yeah, the bottom line is, I mean, if you're just starting out and you've just got a few weddings here and there or whatever, and your tax return is just literally take that number away from that number, then maybe spending 50 quid on an accountant isn't necessary. But if you're doing anything remotely, if you're remotely busy, then just get an accountant, because they will probably save you money.
Yeah,
And also
definitely.
you can claim their fee back on your tax.
Back off
anyway.
them.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So 100 quid on an accountant is actually 80 quid. So
Yep. Very
there you
true.
go.
So that's the last comment. That brings us on to our big exciting news, and that was Chris letting off a little screech there.
Well, according to my screen, there's no one watching live at the moment.
I've got a couple of people here.
Okay, so it's just lying to me. That's fine. So
Yeah,
there are a couple
it
of
does
people
that.
here to. There are a couple of people here who can listen to the exciting news then.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Mark Gerard's watching. Hi there, Mark. How you doing? So we are going wild. Do you want to say it, or shall I say it?
No, you do it, Chris. Go on. You're the one who's really excited. I'm excited about this, but you're really excited about this. You're as
I'm
excited.
really
You're
excited about
more
this.
excited than you were about the time vampires, and you were really excited about that.
So yes, we have decided to. We are going wild, people. Wild is what is it? What does it mean, Jack?
Wedding industry learning and development.
So the A isn't included in the WILD acronym. Basically, what WILD is it is a membership scheme. It is a monthly membership scheme which is open to absolutely anyone, essentially. And there are 3 different levels of membership. Jack has just posted a link. It's weddingindustrywisdom.co.uk/membership-registration. Now, this registration is only going to be open until the 10th of September. You can, sorry, this is pre-registration, isn't it?
Yes.
This is to pre-register your interest. So there's no credit card details or anything else like that taken. It's just us supplying you with the information when it becomes available. And by pre-registering, you will be entitled to a permanent 20% discount on the membership fees. And anything else to add on that particular bit?
No.
No.
You're nailing it.
I'm nailing it. I don't think I am. But so what is included within this membership then, Jack?
So and this is the really fun thing, is that we are essentially employing everything we've taught up to this point in Wedding Industry Wisdom. We know what our ideal client is. So you may go onto this web page and you may look at it and you may go, well, this looks like a pile of rubbish. And there's a reason for that. It's been made to look like it has, because we know that those people who are, we know who we want to work with. So the people we want to work with will look at this page and go, that sounds really fun and interesting. We want to work with fun, interesting businesses, and so we've created this membership to fit along with that. And you'll be able to see that very evidently from the title picture and the pictures going through it, as well as we're here to have some fun. We're not here to take things too seriously. We've got 3 levels of membership, which packages, there you go, so there's another thing being employed there. We've got zebras, we've got giraffes, and we've got lions. Zebras are our base package, that's where we start off. You will receive every single new unit that we produce. We've got the next 3 we've got lined up. We're doing one completely on wedding fairs and how to nail wedding fairs. The one after that, Chris is doing on
Wedding blogging.
wedding blogging, where you will go on.
Included in that, so not only will I tell you exactly the structure of writing a good wedding blog, you will actually be looking over my shoulder, so to speak, and seeing me writing out a new blog, which I will then probably promote to then show you how well it does as well, and I'll report the success of that back to the group. And then the third, well, the unit after that we have planned is one of Jack's, which is what, Jack?
Yep, so that is building out your sales mind maps. This is how you are able to understand, essentially preempt what someone's going to say and know exactly what you need to say to come back to it and preempt their comeback from that. So you're essentially building out a mind map that will enable you to understand every conversation you're going to have about your business and how you are able to overcome any objections that come your way. So those are the 3 units we've got coming up. Each one of those is included in your monthly membership. You get a discount code on all other products, 20% discount on any products you want to purchase from the store. We've got a secret something that we haven't revealed yet that we're going to be revealing a little bit later on. And again, this is no obligations. This is cancel any time. Once you've registered, of course, obviously pre-registration, there's no commitment whatsoever. This is just your chance to be the first to know. We then have giraffes. Do you want to talk about giraffes, Chris?
Yes, giraffe. So this is our middle package. Like I said, we are doing 3 packages because we feel that's the best number. So practicing what we preach. So not only will you get each new bit of content, each new module that comes up, you'll also get access to every other bit of content we've done. So you will get access to the full How to Run a Successful Wedding Business course. You will get annual audits. You can have marketing critiqued from us. You get a week early access to any new content that comes out. 25% discount on any live events that we may run, because those are definitely something which is in the pipeline, Jack. So 25% off that. And again, you can cancel at any time as well. Anything I've missed on that?
No, I don't think so. That then moves us on to Lions, which gives you your opportunity to become part of the Pride. This again is 20% off for pre-registering. You get a 2-on-1 monthly call with us every month. So every single month you get a chance to sit down with us and work through any individual problem you might have going on in your business. This is valued at £100 each, so you're getting that included in your membership price. You get access to all the content released, you get new modules, you get early releases as well. So you get everything released to you a week early. Everything is included that's included in the giraffes package. Plus you are one of only 12 people who will be in the Lions Pride. This is very limited and strict. So we're very, very keen to have people in here because this is going to be a really dedicated group of people. You also receive 50% discount on any live events that we run, which, as Chris has already said, it is in the pipeline. This is also, this particular one, none of the others, this one, the Lions Pride, is a 12-month commitment. So this is not for the faint of hearted, this is for those who are really committed to taking their business to the next level and really creating something special. So those are the 3 packages that we've got. As we said, pre-registration is currently open, so this is your opportunity to become the first to find out when registration for membership goes live, and this will be open until midnight on the 10th, so that's a week tomorrow if you're watching this live, or a week, whenever you watch this. It is the 10th of September. It's open until you will receive a lifetime 20% discount. This 20% discount will never be run again. So this is your opportunity to be in there on the ground level, receiving that 20% discount. We are not revealing the prices at the moment. That's for those of you who choose to sign up and pre-register. You will find out about those on the 11th when we release registration. Sorry. We can tell you that they start from less than £1 a month, pretty much. £1 a day, sorry, £1 a day, my bad. They start from £1 a day. So you will have full access to everything, depending on which package you go for. But you are really going to get a lot from this. You can pre-register at weddingindustrywisdom.co.uk/membership-registration. It's completely free to sign up, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, it's a great thing that we've created here. I think that we are looking forward to having. Well, I think the Lions is something that we're really, really excited about people signing up as, because it means that we get to work 2-on-1 with you, really get great connections with people, and really see people's businesses grow from wherever they are right now to, it's just exciting to think where people's businesses could be in a year's time by following all the content. And then, the continued lives will happen. I mean, nothing else changes. There'll still be the lives. There'll still be the things on the group. That's all going to remain completely free. But for those of you who want to take your business to the next level, those of you who want more content or want to learn about specific things, this is the best way to do it. Because any module we release, you will be able to purchase individually, but it will be much cheaper for you to join as a member, and you'll get whatever units you're getting. Plus, if you go for giraffes or lions, you will get that. And once the registration closes, we are not entirely sure when we're going to open it again. We haven't discussed that yet.
If we reopen it.
If we reopen it. I think we probably will, but it's going to depend
Probably.
on the level of interest and how many people sign up in the first instance. But if you do not sign up in the first, before the is it the 16th? Is it finally closes?
Yeah,
The
so the 13th.
13th, sorry. Yeah, registration closes on the 13th, and it will close indefinitely. We don't know when it's going to open up again, but once the 12 Lions places have gone, they're gone.
That's
That's
it.
all. It's done. Will not be available to any more people. There are unlimited spaces for zebras and giraffes. Um, I'm excited. Let's go wild,
Yeah.
people.
It's going to be good. It is going to be a lot of fun, and Chris was very excited when we came up with the wild idea today.
Well,
And then I spent the rest of the day building the lovely pictures that you can see there.
yeah, go and check them out. I'm particularly fond of me as a lion. Even if you're not interested in registering, then go over to weddingindustrywisdom.co.uk/membership registration to see me as a lion and see Jack with a zebra. So yeah, it's quite fascinating. I'm sure you'll agree. This is the reason that we were on Skype for so long, because we wanted to come up with the perfect name for this. We had everything else, all the back end stuff is done, all the business side of things is done. We were just lacking a name, and then it came to us, and it is wild. So, anything else to add at this stage?
No, that's it. We will be back next week, same time, same place, I'm guessing, unless you've got something
I
better
don't
to
think
be
I have
doing.
anything planned. Yeah, so we will be there, kindly reminding you that be your last chance to pre-register. So
It will.
yeah, so head over to weddingindustrywisdom.co.uk/membership registration, and we will catch you for another video next Monday.
Bye.